Hi, Sina.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I know you're a great storyteller, but you didn't give me any information either about this topic. What are you planning to do today?
Then I probably don't know. But let's start with the story.
Okay,
Okay,
sure.
that probably explains. I do make these tall claims that many movies are taken from my real life, and one of such claim is the famous, Suri is called Parottas Suri because of that one scene in
Yes.
Vanilla Kabaddi Group. I have seen that in front of my eyes. I do believe that that scene is taken from my life. Not that I am a person who can do that. I cannot do that. But I have a classmate who just destroyed to mess, and like they ran out of provisions to that
Okay.
level. How do some people do it? Not everyone can do it. It was literally like that movie. I mean, if you strike the chord, let's start from the beginning. And literally, I have, or none of us ever could figure out how much can be consumed. We haven't figured out the bottom, right? So, what is it? How do you classify it? Is it normal, abnormal? Is it okay, not okay, right? And you have a cold today.
Yes, I do have.
You do have a cold. You already cautioned me that you're going to cough. Let it be part of the background music. But we know that a cold and a cough is not normal. And there is a normal. And this is a slight deviation from that normal. And it can be fixed. And we can move on from that. It takes some time to fix it and then move on, right? But the law of physics defying eating capability, should it be fixed? I don't think so. I mean, he's still very healthy, and I'm sure he can destroy messes even now at this age, right? It is just a difference. It doesn't have to be explained. There is nothing wrong with it. It's not a disorder. We just move on. So there are two different things. One is ailment, which needs to be fixed. Other one is just how it is. No matter how unusual it looks like, it does look very unusual, but no matter what, it doesn't have to be fixed. That's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay. I think, is it something related to mental health or is it?
So I have to come up with a disclaimer. I'm not an expert on fixing the mental health, so I don't want to go there at all. I want to just talk about probably the positive side of it. What could be a long-term sustainable better model for mental health? And to start off with, is there something called mental health? And if so, how do you measure it? If you can't measure it, how do you fix it? What methods are you going to fix it? There are a lot of methods on analyzing the potential mental health issue. There are ways to go and fix it medically. Those are there, but we know how to identify virus and the bacteria. How do we know how to identify a mental health issue? And I'm going to throw that question back at you. What is your view on it?
I think maybe by talking to someone who's facing some distress or something which is related to mental health. Maybe by talking we can understand.
That's a very good point. It's a simple distress because of something happening at that point in time, a mental health issue or just a distress issue. We can face situations in life.
Yes.
I mean, a child not getting a candy is a situation for the child, okay? And adults have their own candies, and if they don't get it, there is a problem. Or the wrong candy given to an adult is also a problem. Child doesn't have that problem, right? So how do you analyze distress at a given point in situation? How do you differentiate that between that and the mental health issue? And if so, what exactly qualifies for a mental health issue?
I think the sequence, the timing of the distress, or how did it occur. I think the only solution is to get the answer out of the person itself by talking. Yes.
Yes, I agree with you that if someone, and sorry, going back to The timing issue, I'll add that as if it's a long time issue. At a given point in time, for a few days or a few weeks, someone feeling distressed because of the situation is definitely not a problem. It is that will happen in everyone's life. We cannot avoid that, right? But if there is a distress situation on a longer time frame and it doesn't go away from that person, that's what I think we can call as a mental health issue. For example, a one day cough and cold, you will put up with it and then you will move on. You go to a doctor only if it exists for a few days, it's getting worse, then maybe an antibiotic is a viable option. Even though we take antibiotics knowing very well that we haven't figured out a single medication against a virus, which is so tiny. We claim that we have figured out medications for curing our brain. I will not go there. But a distress situation being sustained in an individual qualifies probably for a mental health issue, and I agree with you that you probably should talk to that person, and we can go to the next step and then say, what do we talk to that person? What are they going to tell us?
I think we need a therapist for that.
We need a therapist. What does a therapist do?
Talk. Obviously talk.
Obviously talk, right? So what can a therapist talk that others cannot talk? It's only talking. Therapists cannot prescribe medicine. Only qualified doctors can prescribe medicine. So a psychologist or a therapist just talks. What is that to talk?
Something personal which they cannot express to anyone they are related to. But I would say these days people tend to call their best friends their therapists.
Yeah. And a bus not stopping by as depression.
Yes.
Right? That has become so more common. And we should look at some of those statistics for sure. And I looked up recently, the antidepressant market in India is worth about 5,000 crores. And that is a small number given our population. But that's because of access and awareness. The Western markets are multi-billion dollars bigger. And like any company, they're saying it's growing at a 3% CAGR, which means it will double in size probably in 15 years. 15% of US adults take some kind of depression medication. So the size is significant and it is growing. You can eliminate viruses and bacteria, and that's how we came up with probably vaccines and all that stuff. But is there a vaccine? It's a kind of situation that we are facing, right? For that, I think we need to have an understanding of what is that we are solving, or what is that therapist talking to anybody to go and say, okay, talking about what?
Talking about their situation.
Talking about the situation, right? What are they going to say?
Something which happened or something which they overthink about.
So overthinking is a problem.
Maybe yes, but maybe no.
So we do have a problem.
Yes.
Okay. So we need to be cured, right? I think the one approach we can take, and that's probably what I wanted to talk about, is not every difference is a disorder, so we should not go there. But how do we deal with the differences? And we will get to that. Like I said, let's not go into the medical side of things. None of us are qualified for that. We can try to probably define what is normal. So someone, let's say, claims they have a mental health issue. Can we draw a line that is normal and then see what is the deviation from there? So what would be a normal person look like who does not have a mental health issue?
I think that is an hypothetical question. Maybe they don't know.
Everyone has a mental health issue.
Yes.
So everyone needs to be cured. So what cure do they need?
By talking.
By talking. Okay. Probably I don't take that view. Is there a normal person? My opinion is there probably should be normal people. Not everyone can be that abnormal to be qualifying for some kind of therapy. Like I said, at a point in time, stressful situation requires a therapy which is just a friend is a therapist, and that friend is a good therapist, or someone in the family is a good therapist for that, right? So what do normal people do? and why do they not qualify for that, right? In my opinion, normal people do normal things probably, and what those normal things are: they eat, sleep, wake up, go to office, go meet people, talk to them, not as a therapy, but generally talking probably prevents the therapy, right? One of my psychiatrist friend, Dr. Shalini, explained to me in this way to go and say, do you eat well? Which basically needs, do you have a good appetite? Do you feel hungry to eat, or you're just eating? Do you sleep well? Because modern science says sleep is also a mandatory thing, like eating. If you don't have good sleep, then you kind of feel not good, right? Or you, do you have energy to go and do things? Okay, either it's your mundane regular stuff or something else, or you're like kind of, not having the energy to do anything outside of this eating and sleeping. And if you don't have the energy to do things when you are awake, you won't be sleeping well for sure. I think that's what I think, right? And then, are you enthusiastic about building relationships and all that stuff? That seems to be a good definition. It's an approximate definition covering a lot of areas, right? And if there is significant disturbance in any of those things, then it could potentially qualify. Like I said, depression is an overused word now, so I won't go there, right? Sleeping disorders are there. Some people stay awake for months and then it gets sorted out, right? That is a problem. Whatever eaten or whatever they eat and whatever sleep they get, that is okay. If you don't have an enthusiasm to go and do things, that also qualifies. And again, it's a hard nut to crack on. How do you go and measure that enthusiasm? There's definitely no scale to measure that, right? Yes. And I like that explanation. I'm sure there are other explanations. I spoke to someone and they gave this explanation. I'm going with that explanation. It gives some baseline to go and measure and then say, do people fit into that normal or they are not? Then you can look at that issue where the normal is disturbed and then probably try to go to reasoning, and that's where the therapy comes from, and try to fix it. Okay? So without a baseline, it will be quite difficult. So we should be active, jovial human beings until there is any physical ailment. That probably defines a normal. Would you agree?
I totally agree. But now, I'd like to ask you a question.
Okay. That's why you are there, so please do.
Yes. Bundling up the emotions. I think that could also be a reason for, qualification, yes.
What do you mean by bundling up emotions?
Not showing the emotions properly.
Yes. If you are not showing emotions which are regularly expressed by the people, it definitely does qualify for a red flag. If you're making fun of every scenario, people think it's great. I can tell you that's a red flag as well. I don't think normal people can go to the level of just making fun of everything. And as I explained to you before, many stand-up comedians probably qualify, right? So if you are able to, so one of the aspects I saw in stand-up comedy, which I aspire to be, is connecting unrelated things. That's how. So they make fun of train announcements, plane announcements, and how people drive cars and all that stuff, right? Which is what we see on normal life, but they are able to see it from a different perspective and go and make fun of it, right? Is that a skill or a problem? It can go either way. But going back to your question, that fits into that normal definition I gave you. If you're not showcasing at least some bunch of emotions which are considered normal, red flag.
True. Okay. What are the kinds of disorders?
I'll avoid the medical part of it. There are a lot of definitions. Bipolar, schizophrenia, if I pronounce that right, are two names that I come up with. I don't know, more will get added. I don't want to go there because I'm not an expert in those thoughts. Sorry, in those elements. But I'll move away from that and come back to this normal abnormal model. So either not showing emotions or making fun of everything in life and taking everything so lightly. Those are some examples I can give you, which we can observe. And I would say there's potentially some making fun of everything may be okay. I do that all the time. I overdo it probably. Niranjan knows that all about it from my first job. I'm sure I made fun of him enough. Well, the not showing the emotions part definitely does qualify. The problem statement over there is anyone noticing? When someone is displaying those characteristics, everyone saying that's how that person is, leave them alone. I'm not asking for everyone to go and look at that person and offer some solution. That'll be a disaster. But someone closer to that person should have that observation and then say, this person is a friend of mine, a co-worker of mine. I notice something. That's where the talk therapy actually works, and it takes time. It's not going to be straightforward. You build a deeper friendship with the person and go and talk to that person. And like you said, there could be some past history to it, which could have caused it. Brian Weiss is a psychiatrist, which basically means he's a qualified doctor, qualified to prescribe medicines. He follows a hypnotic therapy where he has started believing, he's probably 80 plus now. In the last 40 odd years, he has belief in one, rebirth.
Okay.
Two, we are capable of carrying on memories from the prior birth, and what happened in the previous birth can affect us in this birth. So a deep hypnotic therapy to go and investigate, and it works for some people, it doesn't work for others. I don't think it will work for me. I can't remember things in this birth, how am I going to remember in prior birth, right? So that model, that trauma model, seems to be a familiar therapy model for analyzing and trying to fix it. The trauma that happened in the past will have an impact, and we can't go back in time and fix it. Even in the rebirth model, we can't go back in time and fix in the prior birth. How do you nullify the effects of it going forward is what you can come up with, right? So different people are trying different models. He demonstrated on live TV of people talking about their prior birth, and can be factually kind of verified. The Western world has a lot of records. You can go and verify those things, right? So some kind of trauma impacting people is how loosely I'll define it. You need to go a little deeper and understand that trauma that's causing an impact for the person. For that, our society needs to understand there are different types of trauma, and you don't sweep emotional trauma under the carpet and then say, that's all normal, that's how we live.